Good Sunday morning, I'm Jaden Jefferson, and thanks for joining me on this week's Community Focus. Politics and education are two things that don't go together, but this week they did right here in the state of Ohio, as Ohio Board of Education member Brendan Shea put out a proposal which many believe to be targeting the LGBTQ+ community. So this morning, I'm joined by Sheena Barnes, member of the Toledo Public Schools School Board. Here's our conversation.
Give me an idea of what this resolution from the state level is and how it affects students at your district.
Pretty much what it is, and just to be very honest, it's bigotry, it's transphobia. It is going to, it was going to cause harm if it was passed, and I'm so glad that the board did the right thing and follow procedures and made sure they asked more questions about the harm, but also what resources are we offering our LGBT kids and our trans kids and their families. It was going to pretty much increase every known data that we have about the risks that unfortunately trans and non-binary students face, like homelessness, abuse, harassment, suicide attempts. And it was just a horrible thing to come out of state school board.
And this resolution was proposed by member Brendan Shea of the State Board of Education. And what specifically would this do for educators, and what would educators be tasked with if it were to be applied to TPS?
And so that was one of the biggest concerns is, can our staff, our educators, our counselors build relationships when a student couldn't even tell some of the most important parts of who they are to them, and then couldn't trust them. So it would decrease relationship building between our staff and our students. It would hinder just what we're trying to do is create a welcome space, but it would make us mandated reporters to disclose their sexual orientation or gender identity to sometimes maybe a not welcoming home, making them unsafe. And it was just really calling for a lot of just really dangerous situations for any district if it would have passed.
And it seems like yet another example of politics being brought into education, a place that should be a neutral environment where kids can just learn without having to deal with added pressures such as this. And for staff who are already, just exhausted after the last couple of years we've had. So what has TPS been doing to help staff through this difficult time? Because of course the pandemic was hard on students, but also staff.
We've just been trying to even listen more. How can we alleviate the extra layers of what testing and, their own wellness and being and their families, trying to make sure that we accommodate, be mindful of mental health, give them resources as well, just like we're doing for our students.
And what do you hope continues to change? Because there's obviously, this is a time of change, and it's, some would say, a transition period. So what are some of the changes that you're hoping to see in education?
I really hope that we start looking more at the bigger picture of the systematic things that affect education. The things that we don't want to talk about, the uncomfortable situations of poverty, homelessness, gun violence, trauma, that does impact our students and retention of education. I really hope we start seeing our students as human, as not test robots, and start really pouring into them honest education, honest history, those things that I'm really hoping for and fighting for.
And what would you say is your message to those state lawmakers, Board of Education members on the state level? Because obviously a lot of what's happening in Columbus has tremendous impact on what happens here, more so than on the federal level. So what do you want them in Columbus to know about your district's efforts here in Toledo?
Just to listen to our educators, listen to our students, listen to their families. We have so many things that I would love to go to Columbus and testify and advocate with, to decrease and help for our students in our community and resources, and take the political warfare out of education. Education should be education, not your bigotry, not your homophobia, not your racism.
Now, Shea's proposal has been sent to Executive Committee for further consideration. Now, thanks to Sheena Barnes for her time on this Sunday, and that's this week's Community Focus. Have a great week, everybody.